Alright, so I get asked this question a lot. For the last 3 or so months, I've been playing a ton of Destiny 2 on some Titan. Alright, and Titan allows you to Titan skate after a recent change that they had made. Well, I say recent, but it was probably a couple months ago. Anyways, they changed some of the movement-based mechanics within Destiny to promote some more like rapid engagements. It was in a bit of a rough spot for a while there. Thankfully, much better post-Forsaken, but nonetheless, Titan skating. Get asked this question a ton, how to do it.
And hold them to your last breath.
Do you need a macro? It's the only way to achieve it, a macro. All that nonsense. What kind of mobility do you need? Does it work like D1? Well, it's kind of a difficult thing to answer. Now, right out of the gate, it does not require a lot of mobility. I would argue you want as low mobility as possible, okay? Running something along like 0, 1, or 2 would be way more beneficial than running like 5 or 6 mobility. Now, mobility allows you to have faster strafe speeds and also quicker vertical climbs. Now, Lion Ramp is going to change that a little bit because it changes the way your boost works. It makes it more responsive. Also, it adds a technical third boost stop. So if I'm going to try to show you what I mean. So jump, right? Boost, stop, stop, boost, stop, right? So it has 3 technical boosts that can happen, which is one of the reasons why it's so useful to Titan skate. It is obtainable without having this, but it's not nearly as proficient in my opinion. And on this map in particular, you'll see quite a whole lot of speed here on the left-hand side. This is probably one of the greatest maps for pushes for a Titan whenever you're playing quick player comp. So, some things to look out for. It is indeed frame rate dependent. Now that may seem odd. The frame rate that you're playing as is going to impact the kind of receptance of the in-game ability to accept your inputs, right? So a higher frame rate means the game will accept quicker inputs, aka more inputs. Now, if you're playing at anything below 60 FPS, Titan skating is going to be literally impossible, or nearly impossible, right? I'm playing at 120 FPS right now on a GTX 1080 i7 8700K. The ability to skate is definitely 100% confined to your frame rate and your input method of choice. For instance, if you play on a controller on PC, Titan skating may not be possible due to the fact that it is very, very, very difficult to hit an input as fast as a scroll wheel, for instance, to jump. It is very fast, okay? Very, very, very fast. Now, the input tracker here on the bottom right, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the software, and you're going to see exactly how many like individual scrolls that are technically being absorbed whenever I'm trying to Titan skate. Now, the program is called Noboard, Nohboard. For those interested, you can look it up. I'm sure some of you guys probably know a bit more about it than I do, but I use it on stream. So, let's go ahead and get OBS running so that we can send it to our stream rig. Let's go ahead and get Noboard running. And let's go ahead and configure NDI output. That's all nonsensical streamer talk for complicated stuff. Anyways, back into Destiny. So, over here on the bottom right, you'll see that I have a keyboard tracker. A for strafe left, E for strafe right, C for crouch for me, sprint for shift, etc. Spacebar, jumps, right? Single scroll, 1 jump. Single scroll, 1 jump. Now, these settings for this are actually in your key mapping section. This does not require any third-party software whatsoever. They added the ability to multi-bind a single input a long while back for whatever reason, and now it's something that you can use to configure your own little, oh, I don't know, keybind madness of sorts. Now, spacebar right here, boom, right? Click on that guy. I'm literally just going to scroll once. Boom. That's it. That's all it's set to. It does not require third-party software at all. I'm using an Ultralight Phantom. Ultralight Phantom doesn't even come with software. Okay, it's all built in. The only thing that I use for it now, I think, is, let's see, a program up here called V16D1, I'm sorry, DM1 S Pro mouse driver. One of my moderators brought that up, told me that I could use that to configure it if I need to. I actually disabled my multi-DPI like switcher, and I made that to backslash or push to mute, right? So, long story short, no third-party software needed. All the stuff to do it is in-game, okay? You're looking for about 8 to 12 scrolls. So if you have your own PC and you have your own setup that you can kind of record like Noboard, you can kind of see exactly how many times you're scrolling, and maybe you can compare it, right? Playing it again, about 100 or so FPS on this map, 120 right now. I wish it were a little bit higher. I have my settings turned up a little bit too far, but I'm aiming for 144, okay? I play on 144 hertz 1440p monitor. And let's show you how this goes, I suppose. Ready? So you spawn here, okay? You're scrolling. You might screw it up. It does indeed happen. I have a lot of practice, right? So you can get some pretty crazy speed here. Now, for those that aren't really paying attention to the bottom right, in order to do this, you're going to try to scroll 8 to 12 times, right? So if I scroll too slow, as you can see, it doesn't really do a good job. It just kind of wafts you around. And the no-board software kind of picks it up as multiple separate, like, scroll bursts, right? It's not good. It sucks. Don't do it. Alright, and I'm going to scroll too fast this time. And the game doesn't even know what to do. I'm literally using my middle finger to scroll now, just so I can do it fast. It just doesn't work. Right? The engine has a hard time accepting those quantities of inputs that fast. It doesn't know what to do with them, so it doesn't accept them. Right? I'm not a coder. I'm not a game developer. But something to do with frame rate is changing the way the game perceives inputs. Right? So, 8 to 12 scrolls. Aim for that. Now, when it comes to armor and stuff, I'm running a lion rampant, I can talk, and some basic armor here. I'm 1 mobility. I'm still working on a kit here for my Titan since Forsaken. Yeah, you're going to want to run this, and you're going to want to run low mobility, and you're going to want to run Catapult Jump. Okay? Catapult Jump is one of the only jumps to make this like really possible in my opinion. It's the one that I got most proficient with. It's going to allow you to burst yourself through the air very quickly if you do it right. So pretty crazy push lane here. Imagine having a guy, you know, over here, not even paying attention, capping this objective. I've caught many people off guard flying down this lane with like a fighting line, all that nonsense. It works really well. Some maps are better for Titan skating than others. You got to keep in mind that although you can move, you know, at the speed of light, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to become a god, okay? You're going to have to be able to perceive inputs and perceive, you know, enemy fire, and the way to combat that very quickly. It is not an easy button. If you're using a macro, well, you could probably call it an easy button because you're not focusing on doing a scroll wheel for escape or anything like that. But in my opinion, macros are cheating. Automation of inputs, in most cases, are against terms of service for most video game companies. Bungie's terminology for it is very vague. Very vague. So you can read up on the terms of service yourself. I might even put it in the description. In my opinion, it's cheating. And I'm not saying you will get banned from Bungie for running a macro and PvP for Titan skating, but I would imagine they have the availability to track it, but whether or not they kind of hit you with the ban hammer is up to them, obviously. But if you want to do it the legitimate way, the way that I deem is an okay thing, you can use the scroll wheel. It doesn't cost you anything. As long as you have a decent mouse, you'll be fine. I used the G502, did it okay there. I'm using an Ultralight Phantom now. I do like the Phantom scroll wheel, it's nice. I don't really use the scroll wheel for any other games other than Destiny, just to do this. And I've been playing Hunter a lot as of late, so my scrolls are kind of, they need a little bit of work right there, like I just goofed off, I just screwed up. But yeah. Catapult Jump, low mobility, right? It can be done Striker, Sunbreaker, Sentinel. And that's about it. It's tied to frame rate. So I'm going to show you what exactly happens when you lower the frame rate to kind of give you a good idea on whether or not I'm full of crap. Alright, so I'm going to enable frame rate cap. I'm going to put it down to 30. I am recording at 60, alright? It's going to look a lot nicer for you than it does for me, I can assure you. I played 144 hertz in most cases, and ew, stutter, gross. Looking around, you're going to see some pretty nastiness in regards to the recording. Anyways, I'm going to scroll about 8 to 12 times if I can manage the rhythm right, and you can tell it's not even accepting a second jump. It's just not. Right? It doesn't even work. So in most cases, whenever the frame rate gets really low, you have to scroll slower to make it work, and I'm trying to make up for that, and it sucks. It literally feels terrible. It doesn't do a good job. It's not consistent. It'll probably get you frustrated and get you killed. So yeah, console folks, I'm sorry, but it is indeed tied to frame rate. It wouldn't even matter if you had a mouse and keyboard on console or not. It isn't possible. The game's frame rate is impacting the way the inputs are perceived. So I'm gonna put it up to 60 and let you guys see what that looks like. It is possible, but it's not proficient in my opinion. I think 60 at some point, maybe for Destiny 2 on console, would be an awesome thing for them to shoot for. Do I think it'll happen anytime soon? Nah, probably not. But if for some reason they decide to push the 60 FPS route, it may be possible. If you can have an input method that's fast enough to hit the buttons necessary at the appropriate speed. It is very difficult to hit buttons on a controller very, very, very fast without risking, you know, inaccuracy and all that nonsense. I played bumper jumper in D1. You can definitely skate back in D1. I wish it were like that, but unfortunately it's not in D2. Again, tied to frame rate. So I'm going to scroll like I would normally scroll as I mess that up. About 8 to 12. Pay attention to that thing in the bottom right. And as you can tell, not quite working like it should, right? It isn't accepting the inputs. The frame rate's just not high enough, right? But if I make up for that lack of frame rate by scrolling slower, it looks like you achieve something close to a Titan skate if I can get the rhythm right. So, definitely not as fast, but it does indeed do something. Okay, 60 FPS. I'm going to put up to 90. And you guys will see that it is pretty proficient at 90, but not nearly as good as uncapped. Alright. Oh, I didn't enable it. GG's to me. So, frame rate dependent. I have no idea what causes this and why that is the way it is, but I'm not a game developer. I'm not anyone who has the knowledge and or information necessary to determine why this is the case. But definitely better at 90. Definitely better. I can get a good rhythm going. It's not too far off of my standard skate. It actually is very similar. Oh, kind of screwed up there. So scrolling a little bit slower. Keeps you on the ground. Good to go. Pretty solid. Not bad, right? And then I'll put it on capped, and you'll see again that it is crazy fast. Pretty good. Some people argue that it's OP. I would argue that since Forsaken has dropped, everyone running around with shotguns and this and that has made it a lot easier to combat. Before, the time to kill was just too long. And fighting someone that was good at Titan skating was kind of difficult because they can close the gap so fast and they could shoot you in the melee, you, etc. Made it tough. Not Forsaken's here. Everyone's got shotguns. Everyone's kind of aping around doing their own thing. Not nearly as strong in my opinion. And also, you have to keep in mind that shotgun and air accuracy is terrible. Destiny 2's shotguns are very, very inconsistent. So you might run into someone who knows what they're doing with a Titan skate, but doesn't necessarily guarantee they're going to get a kill. I would argue right now Hunters are the best neutral game in the game. They're going to be the best shotgunners, I would argue. You're entitled to your own opinion. Control Jump is just too good to beat, and Shade Step is super good at getting you away from scenarios that you necessarily don't have the advantage in, and or causing them to waste their ammo. So, long story short, mobility, you want really low. Catapult Jump, preferably. I run Lion Rampants. You can achieve a skate without it, but it's not nearly as good. I'm not going to go into showing that, but I'll let you guys test it yourself. So, about 8 to 12 scrolls if you can test it. Pay attention. Do some practice, right? Don't scroll too fast. Don't scroll too slow, okay? You're not just throwing your finger down the scroll wheel and expecting it to do stuff for you. It's not how it works, okay? Again, not a macro. Does not require third-party software. You can use pretty much any mouse, as long as the scroll wheel's not junk. I've used a G502 in the past. Worked just fine. Used a G903. Worked just fine. Using the ultralight. Works just fine. Takes a minute to get used to, but does indeed work. So, practice it. Let me know how you guys do. And if you have any questions for something I didn't cover, I will do my best to answer them in the comments section if you do yell at me. Okay? Frame rate dependent, non-third-party software, not a macro. Okay? Keep that in mind. Macros, in my opinion, are cheating. Automating of inputs and anything PvP related is something that takes out the human element, considered very closely aligned with something like an aimbot, etc. Something automating a process for you. It's not good. Okay? So, good luck. Let me know how proficient you guys get, and yeah, that's it. Any questions? Put them in the comment section. Subscribe and all that nonsense if you're into that sort of stuff. But that's it. That's Titan Skate. Destiny 2. And be prepared to fall off the edge randomly. It's going to happen. You're going to screw up your Titan Skate, and you will die. I've done it like a billion times on stream. Okay? Don't get frustrated. Stick with it. If it's not for you, use a different subclass, you know? So, I'll see you guys in the next video, and good luck on everyone's Forsaken grind. Get them Titan Skates out.